Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Creating Things Together with me, James, and her, Christina.
Hello.
We make episodes where we talk about creating things together and the journey of such a journey. And we share new episodes every Monday.
Yes.
And today we're going to be talking about a plethora of things. We're going to be talking about it's going to be primarily marriage counseling, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's just a bunch of marriage counseling.
That's all this is.
And we're going to start by saying that the only way that you will succeed in marriage is to have enough cheese in the household at all times.
Yes.
That cheese is your life force.
Unless you're lactose intolerant.
Unless you're lactose intolerant. And crap, I guess I haven't really thought that far yet.
That's why divorce rates are at 50%.
Are they it's all lactose intolerant people?
Mm-hmm.
I guess, because lactose intolerance is about at the same rate as divorce rates.
Yeah, there you go. We solved the problem, guys.
Wow.
You're welcome.
So one of the things we want to talk about is upgrading lenses, because we've been doing that.
We've been upgrading a lot of things lately, I feel like. And why we're upgrading our lenses and not our camera. Ooh, everybody thinks you need to upgrade your camera. Spoiler alert, you don't need to upgrade your camera.
Well, you might, but it's only when
only
you need to.
Only if you're shooting on a potato.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're shooting with like a 2004 point and shoot, might be a good time to make the jump to full frame.
I don't know if they had point and shoots in 2004. I think it was all the disposable film.
It was the beginning, right? They didn't look good, but they were there. Yeah,
maybe.
I think.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know.
What was the earliest
timeline.
Point and shoot, friends? Look it up.
Yeah.
So I mean, we want to at the end be at full frame.
Yes.
This is gonna be a highly technical conversation, by the way, for you guys. This is gonna be gear related and technical, but we're gonna try to make it be about
creativity,
creating things that are meaningful
together
within that.
Yes.
They're always tools that are a means to an end. And sometimes people get the buggy before the horse, and then you just have a lot of fun gear and a story that is not so compelling.
Yes.
And that's problematic.
A bunch of whip transitions and gimmicky edits.
Exactly. And I think the exemplification of that is the tweet where it's like, hey guys, just released my new Iceland film. And I see these all the time, and I assume
like it's a good film.
And I assume that I will be correct in saying this, that it won't be that exciting. It'll kind of just be a montage about some black sand and like that plane that crashed.
A waterfall. And a couple waterfalls too.
Yeah, a couple waterfalls. But it's like, okay, what is it?
Why is this a film?
Your Iceland trip? What is it about your experience in Iceland that meant something to you, perhaps?
Well, I mean,
take it to another level.
We've been guilty of the same thing. Our videos very easily become just montages. And
it can be, yeah.
That's boring.
It's an allure.
And honestly, I'm kind of tired of editing it. So one thing that we did in a recent video was we had a ton of montage stuff, and I just was kind of over editing montages, and we did some voiceover of facts about the specific waterfall that we went to in Idaho, and it made the video more interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it did too. I think that we've been trying to make
not bad videos.
We've been trying to insert more purpose into our videos, not so much from the perspective of giving money to starving children or something.
Because we don't like starving children.
Yeah, because they're
really
kind of useless. Really, I mean, I think we need less children in the world fundamentally, but.
Specifically less, I think we need less starving children, and that's a controversial statement and a non-controversial statement depending on the context that you just heard us speak in.
We need less starving children. A lot of people would say the way that you create less starving children is to feed them. Our version is to say let them die.
Okay, that's very offensive. Starving children, if you're listening to this, go get yourself some food. Oh my gosh.
So I think we're trying to be intentional.
You can't say anything about less children right now in our political climate.
Why is that?
It gets very dodgy.
I don't think anybody's actually fighting for children. We're worried about other stuff.
Okay.
The kids are just kind of...
I'm going to let your imagination go wherever it goes so we don't get into politics.
Children.
Anyway, so creativity.
So yes, with our video, we try to... We've been on a journey recently of not just wanting to create a bunch of montages, but to have a direction that we feel like matters.
Yeah.
In some sense.
I'm just trying not to hate the videos that I'm making.
Like that's vague as I say it.
Well, okay.
But it's a very specific meaning when I'm saying something that matters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how much does it matter if you're just showcasing your highlight reel of travel?
Sure.
And that's kind of what we've been doing, I feel like.
Sure.
And I feel like we need to, I'm asking people to spend 10 minutes of their day at least once a week.
Yeah.
If not twice a week or 7 days. No, I'm just kidding.
Christina's making it tangible. Thank you, Christina.
No problem.
I couldn't find the right way to articulate that, so keep going.
Yes. So why am I asking people to watch just a 10-minute montage highlight reel of how amazing my travels are? Look, I'm by a waterfall. Oh, look, I'm by a cliff in Moab. James is looking at the Zoom recorder. Why am I making montages about this stuff? I want to inspire people to create, number one. And number two, most importantly, I want to build a community of highly creative creatives.
You want relationships.
I want relationships. I need friends, guys. So we're trying to be a bit more thoughtful behind our videos. I don't want them just to be travel vlogs because travel vlogs aren't interesting if you're not going to interesting places. And I mean, eventually when you travel the whole world, you kind of get oh, great, I'm in Iceland.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. I'm just kind of over the whole gimmicky travel vlog thing. I want there to be more meaning and more community, which is why we're doing things like our creator expeditions. More on that in actually the next couple weeks, if you think about it. Because I don't want to commit ourselves to anything, but creator expeditions. I'll link to a video in the description of the show notes. What? I'm mixing up my platforms.
You can go to a website where there's a description of the show notes.
Yes.
That will be below this podcast. So if you want to not go through the entire show notes and just see a short description, then you can go there.
Okay. So if you are interested in the creator expeditions that I just mentioned, I will leave a link in the show notes and or description. But I just want there to be more meaning behind our videos. And it's kind of boring to me what we have been doing lately. Not lately, what we have been doing in the past. And I'm changing it up, fam. Get your creative butts ready.
Oh.
Squeeze your cheeks.
Yeah.
Exercise those buns.
Yeah.
We are going to create some stuff.
Don't squeeze too hard because they'll turn inside out. And what started us down that rabbit hole was that I was saying that gear acquisition can often be a substitute. It can become a natural substitute to thoughtful storytelling and meaningful intentionality.
You want to hear something possibly controversial? Where's our new camera?
Oh man!
Do you want to go grab it?
We've already killed kids.
What are you talking about?
Are we gonna overload them with controversiality?
Just grab it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll be right back.
So, one of the things, this is kind of controversial in regards to don't just get gear to make yourself better. I like getting gear. Gear is fun to me. It's a new experience. And I think it's allowed to be said that new gear is exciting. Gear's great. But one of the reasons that I like gear is because it inspires me to do more, to create more, think more dynamically. But
it's like a jolt of energy.
But it can't be substituted for the real thing because eventually this new gear gets a bit not new.
Yes.
And it gets a little bit stale.
Yes.
So in my hand, I'm holding, I don't even think we announced this on our YouTube channel. So if you guys are podcast listeners, you get the exclusives. James and I just bought a Sony. Nope, just kidding. Is it a Sony lens technically?
It is a Sony lens. Yeah, it's a
so it's G. Yeah, okay, there we go. It
says Sony on it.
We got a Sony G Master 24-70, f2.8. I think I said that all backwards. Sony 24 to 70 2.8 G Master lens.
That's all right.
I think that's how you say it.
G Master.
G Master. So that's kind of what sparked this topic idea for those of you who are watching the video.
Any lens that sounds like a funk band from the 80s
G Master
is something I want to toy with. It's huge. Not enormous in the big realm of lenses, but it's pretty big, especially for a 24 to 70. It's heavy. Let's just say when we're filming ourselves, we're going to have to hold it from the lens and not from the camera because it's pretty sizable, but it's exciting. We were poking around with it when we were buying. So we went to buy it from
the internet.
A fellow today. Yeah. Very kind fellow. And we spoke with him for a little while. We arrived at his apartment.
Oh, don't tell about his apartment yet. We got to stay on the topic of the lens.
1900 p.m. hours. The moon was purple.
Are you okay?
Okay, go ahead. What were you saying before?
Yeah, because I don't want to talk about like his whole setup and everything. I want to talk about the lens. So James asked me why I wanted to get this lens.
Why did you not want to get all the other lenses and get that lens?
Because I saw people have it and I was envious, so I decided to buy it. And
peer pressure.
I feel like that's going to make me better.
Cool. Peer pressure.
The
Joneses.
So I've had this lens on my eyeball for quite some time.
Oh my gosh, that sounds
painful. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
need to go to a specialty clinic for that for sure.
It's the big brother of the lens that we had previous. We still have it. We're going to sell it. So if any of you guys are interested in a Sony 24 to 70 f4, hit me up. But so we're going to sell
with a small chip in it.
Yeah. Just a little chip.
We don't know why it happened, but it works fine.
Yeah. Anyway, the reason that I wanted to get it is the f-stop. It's basically this lens is the big. Yeah, it's 2.8. Yeah. So it's better in low light. It gives you that buttery, flaky crust of an image.
Buttery, flaky crust.
Do you know that meme?
Some gluten. No. Buttery, flaky crust?
You don't know that? Like, it's like a video that went viral of these old people trying to do a commercial and they couldn't read the script and the guy couldn't get the buttery flaky crust.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Wow, you pulled that out of the deep web because I feel like that's not something you see around a lot.
Well, whenever I say buttery, I think of buttery flaky crust. So
yeah, he couldn't get it, and his wife was trying to help him say it right.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Damn it, Shirley. So I wanted this because it produces a better image quality. Downside is it's on a APS-C sensor, which is cropped, right? Am I getting these things right?
It's cropped.
Yeah,
1.5 crop.
It pushes it in. So this 24 millimeters, like 32 or 36 or some kind of math. And that's not the best for vlogging, but the benefit of having James around is he is typically behind the camera or I'm behind the camera and we can film the other person. So we're not really dealing with the whole vlogging angle, but I want to get another lens. The 16 to 35 millimeter f4. Anyway, I'm getting so off topic.
I did want to talk about a couple of things why I think this lens is interesting in particular, and one of the reasons why we picked it.
So why did you want to get this lens, James?
Well, so the 2.8-ness is good because, for one, also that's the reason why it's so huge is because it's 2.8 all the way through the focal range.
Ooh.
And that when you do that, what that means physically is you get a big lens. I don't know why, but that's how it works.
Because the thing has to be more open.
Sure, but the lens elements have to be really big, so the lens has to be really big. I think. Anyway,
math.
They're always big when you have a consistent focal length. Consistent f-stop all the way through the focal length. But the 2.8, when we're shooting B-roll, sometimes we want things to have a certain buttery quality to them that the 2.8 f-stop can provide, and that you get something with that you don't get with f4. It is shallower and it looks really nice, and for a specific kind of
buttery
shooting,
flaky crust,
it's good. And every focal length has a character. Just like every lens has a character, just like every sensor size has a character.
Just like every rose has its thorn.
Exactly. And also the quality of the quality of the out of focusedness in the background is smoother than what you would get with a cheaper lens.
It's like Gaussian blur. So it's like a really good rendered Gaussian blur.
I know we love Gaussian blur.
One of the reasons that I was excited
we put it in all our videos.
What?
We actually shoot at f/22 all the time, and any blur that you see in the background is Gaussian blur that we add in Photoshop
Takes
frame
me
by frame.
32 hours to edit one video.
That's why we never post a video.
So another reason that I wanted to get this lens is it's going to make our video images look mo better. Video images? What was that? Did I just have a stroke? It'll make the video look
It's weird
better.
how it only happens when we're recording.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I'm just...
3 strokes per recording.
Stroke. Stop mocking me.
Family Guy.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I'm just stoked to make our videos look better. I'm stoked to go on adventures. I want to go to the desert soon. I'm going to go to Florida. I'm so ready to, like... Dude, it used to be like if I was in like the same place for 6 weeks, I would get like, I need to get out of here. It became 2 weeks.
The drug jitters.
Now I need to like, I've been home from Taipei for a week, and I'm like, dude, I need to go on an adventure. I think I'm just designed to be like a nomad, but I don't want to be a nomad. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well,
I'm slightly tired.
I wanted for one reason. Yeah, it's been. I think we're both mentally a little bit exhausted.
Guys,
today.
it's been one hell of a week. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week.
Typically, we want to record these podcasts not on Saturdays, but it's Saturday. It's been a long week. Hoo-wee.
I wanted to talk about the guy in his apartment. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about that was, for one, it's cool that you can like, if you're buying something from somebody, like technology things, you can find really interesting people. And I thought he was an interesting guy. He was nice. He was kind of like us. He was into tech a little bit. He looks like he would run a tech channel, you know? And the other thing, well, so one part of our interaction with him, by the way, I was thinking on the way there, hey, we're not going to go into his apartment because he might be a serial killer.
No, we were totally going to go into his apartment.
And I tried to, and I was like prepared to be like, yeah, we're going to stay out here. We feel a little bit better about staying outside. Well, he walks out. He's got this big smile on his face. He shakes our hand. I was like, I don't think this guy's going to kill us. And then I just went in, but I felt swooned.
Didn't you bring your pocket knife inside?
Oh my gosh, this is what happened to kids in the 70s. What?
Yeah. Well, didn't you bring your pocket knife inside? Like
yes.
When we pulled up, James we keep 2 pocket knives in the car just in case you wanted to know. And this is also a good little adventure hack. You keep 1 pocket knife in the glove compartment and 1 in the middle console or whatever console you have, just in case you get into a car accident, you need to cut yourself out, or in case you need to cut
a bear.
Yeah, or at least like if you need to cut a tomato, on a road trip.
Well, not chased by a bear in a car per se, but yes, like any number of things. You may need to cut your seatbelt because you flipped your car into a river.
That was the first thing that I said.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Do you listen to anything that I say?
No. So we went into his apartment, and we...
Also, disclaimer, this is Orem, Utah, so I don't think anything bad happens.
Yeah.
In Happy Mormonville.
Right.
We're doing good.
Yeah, we weren't in a sketchy part of town by any stretch of the imagination. But one of the things that we wrestled with there with the lens is it does not have built-in image stabilization.
That was...
So we had an issue on our hands because we did not have our A6500, which has in-body stabilization, so that we could test it and see if the lens without in-lens stabilization would work well with the camera with in-body stabilization. See if the in-body stabilization could handle the lack of, and it not look shaky and awful. So we only had the A6400 with us. So luckily he had his A7 there, so we put on his A7, and I walked around his house.
A7R Mark II.
Yes.
Just because I don't know if the A7 in and of itself has
right.
image stabilization.
So we So I did a test. Walked around his apartment, holding it out, vlogging style.
You walked up and down the stairs.
And then I walked up and down the stairs to create a certain amount of a jittery environment. And we realized it looked good, but we were a little concerned about that. But I guess what I'm saying is that we focused, I think my arm broke off.
Good.
We focused on all of the variables of the lens to make sure we didn't miss anything.
And it's also very important to take your time when you're about to drop, a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
We actually got this one as an amazing deal for $1,700. Typically they're like $2,200. So we got it like $400 or $500 off, however the math works.
Is this Craigslist or Marketplace?
This is Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace.
Which friends. Honestly, I'm very skeptical when it comes to buying anything online, but if you do your proper research, you vet the people out, you can get away with some good bit of stuff.
Yeah.
We're still looking for that, a more wide lens.
Right.
For
that'll be our next one.
Better vlogging. Whenever we do decide to turn the flip the camera around. But no, I'm super stoked.
We are
to have this lens. And then also,
oh my gosh,
I bought an underwater camera housing.
Oh yeah.
Do you want, today is World Oceans Day and I'm not in the ocean, and there's a part of me inside that's actually dying, and maybe that's what this funk all day has been.
You might just be feeling the oceans, it's like Moana, where she's connected with the ocean helps her.
Yeah, that's totally me.
And the ocean might be calling you from deep within and from far away.
That's probably what it is.
You're just feeling offset by that. You're feeling unsettled. You want your grandma ocean.
Yes.
By the way, that movie it's just the plot line and the way that the ocean helped her with every single situation.
Hi, we're Disney critique people.
Welcome to Disney Critique People every Monday. So I got an underwater camera housing and I'm super stoked about it. So we're going to keep our kit lens Why the heck did you get that underwater housing, Christina?
Because I'm gonna live underwater.
Okay, cool. I'm down.
I want to be where the fishies are. So we're going to go on a scouting trip to Florida. I'm not sure if we've spoken about this on the podcast. Like I said, all of this information, if you want to know about it in more detail, we are going to create a podcast in maybe 3 or 4 weeks specifically about this creative expedition. But we did do somewhat of an update, not an announcement, an update. This is not an announcement. This is more of an update, but we're going to do this creative expedition thing where we open it up to 4 to 6 creators. I think 4 is probably the best, but where we open it up to a couple creators, and we're going to go on a creative field trip where we go and do all sorts of adventurous things. We shoot photos, we shoot videos. I just want to be surrounded by a lot of creative people, and the best way to do that is to invite them to an event, charge them money. We cover everything with the money that they pay. And, so one of the things that I want to do is underwater photography, because I think, so a little bit of back history about me. I don't love filming.
I come from a family of whales.
I come from a family of whales from Wales.
Wales.
So I'm not a massive fan of filming. I really like editing, but the problem with that is I have such a specific vision behind any kind of video that I need to film it, or I need to be very involved. But I think,
if you're gonna edit and not shoot, you need to loosen up.
Yeah, shut up. But I think that underwater housing will make filming way more exciting for me. Yeah. Because it's just me like chilling in the water, free diving with with a camera. Unfortunately, this underwater housing is of the cheaper variety, because I'm not going to drop $1,200 right off the bat.
As long as it keeps the water out.
Yeah. Right off the bat, I don't want to drop $1,000 or so on a new hobby, because I don't know if I'm going to like it. I did dabble with the idea of getting one of those basically glorified Ziploc baggies. Yeah. But all of the reviews said you get what you pay for. But I found a sweet little underwater housing.
Good ones with like lens elements on the front. I mean, you're not literally putting
there
it in
were
a
some
Glad
positive
bag.
reviews and there were some really negative reviews.
Okay.
It is basically a glorified Ziploc bag.
Right.
But this one that I got,
I guess usage would be difficult.
it's for the Sony A6500. And it's basically the kit size. There are some underwater camera housings that you can, interchange the lenses and stuff. But the whole podcast topic is not us getting gear. It's when you should and should not get gear.
Oh, right.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Do
So,
do they still make podcasts? Ear Biscuits? Is that a thing?
I don't know, but I was just thinking about them the other day. I haven't watched a Good Mythical Morning episode in a long time, and I don't know why, because it's just happy when you do.
Yeah.
They really have the whole aesthetic down of just a good escapism show. Like, there's nothing political. It doesn't feel like nothing
They just
serious.
get into like eating stuff.
They're just having a good time.
Yeah. They just eat a bunch of weird stuff.
So I haven't watched them in a while, and I need to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so gear, when to have it and when to not, or when to upgrade and when to not, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
When you should buy new things, new toys. One of the reasons that we got this was a very calculated, okay, we needed something with better low light because we do shoot at night. We also wanted to have a more buttery, flaky crust of an image. So that justified us dropping $1,700 on this lens. But we didn't upgrade our camera, because Sony hasn't created a full frame camera that fits our needs perfectly.
Right.
And if we're going to drop $2,000+ on a camera, personally, I want it to fit my lens perfectly. I don't want to get a camera that doesn't fit my lens, because then what are you doing?
It's like made by some guy in Nebraska.
Yeah.
And he didn't like measure it right.
Yeah. No, I want to get a camera that fits my needs perfectly if I'm going to drop the price of a used car on it.
And why the heck, Christina, do we not have an A7 right now? Why did we stay with the A60 400 and 6500? And what is holding us back? What is keeping us from taking the plunge?
Because Sony needs to make a full frame camera with a flip up lens. And
Valid.
I am hoping and praying and assuming that they will.
Salad.
But, dude, I don't know. I don't know if they will. And I don't know if they will in the right way, because if they make a flip-up lens like this guy, then we can't use an external mic. Yeah. What are we even doing?
Right.
So
But
I also don't think that they will do one like this, because I'm pointing at the Sony A60 400. I don't think that they'll do one that flips up, because the viewfinder is right in the middle. I think they have to do it right to the side, or they can pull a Canon and do the flip under.
So there's 3 basic issues with why we are not shooting full frame right now, because we would like to. Full frame has a character to it that you don't get with APS-C. The first one is the existence of a flip up screen, because it's just freaking annoying when you don't have it. And we've shot plenty of videos without it, and it's something that is a constant thorn in my thigh bone. The second thing is which way the screen flips.
You said screen weird.
My body aborted the word screen.
You kind of swallowed the word.
It was like saliva as I said that word.
It's green.
So flips, which direction the screen flips. So that we can use the microphone with it. And the other big one is the stabilization, the in-body stabilization. Now, the A7 has that, but given Sony's current track record, they're probably going to add the flip-up screen and then take out the in-body stabilization like they did with the A60 400.
I highly doubt that, because I don't
understand.
The Sony A7S Mark III
Why is the world so evil?
It's pitched to video people, so there's no way in hell.
So was this one. Why would anybody want this camera if they weren't going to film videos with it?
No, that's a really good point. Yeah, Sony, just get it together. I'll email my Sony contact. And
obviously people can buy it for other reasons, but the reason why the flip up screen even exists is because you're going to film yourself, or take a selfie.
I'm just deeply prepared. Our bank account has the money in it right this second that if Sony drops the perfect camera, we will follow the sheep. The Sony sheep. Yeah. So that's
right off the cliff,
dude.
With the rest of society.
Once you get us started talking about flip up screens, we get so like ornery.
So that's the reason why we haven't upgraded yet. So I suppose that doesn't address the issue of why one should or should not upgrade. So I want to talk about a couple of reasons why I think one should not upgrade.
Okay.
One reason why you should not upgrade is if your reasoning for upgrading is so that you can
have the latest and greatest
so that you can find a reason and a passion to begin shooting. In other words, you're not shooting because you haven't upgraded yet.
Okay.
I would say your upgrade is not your issue. Your videos or photos are not going to get better because you upgrade. That's a very general statement. Obviously, it's going to look a little bit better. The quality of it,
but the story won't.
The quality of the image, technically speaking, might get better, but the quality of your creations will not get better.
Can I say something really quick?
Hold on, I want to be very precise in this. The quality of your creations that's not the way to fix that problem. The way to fix that problem is mastery. And the way to fix that problem is to define more what you're trying to do with your content. You can't substitute that with buying more gear.
Right.
It's nice, it's fun, and it might inspire you, but perhaps that's not where you start with that. Go ahead.
I just wanted to address the whole warp stabilizing. I've heard so many people go, just put warp stabilization.
Oh, right.
You guys just be quiet. Like, no more comments for you. I appreciate it, but that's ridiculous. Just put warp stabilization on your clips. No, that's not a good idea, number one. And number two,
that's like having to put like some sort of device on your finger to use your phone.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
In 2019.
Warp stabilizer doesn't work for a lot of reasons. I'm not anti-warp stabilizer because I do use it for specific clips, but in general, you can't put warp stabilizer. And I've also received comments of, if you're doing stuff like hiking, just get a GoPro. No, that's not the kind of stuff that we're making. Sorry. Ooh.
Well, and that's especially not the answer when my iPhone can stabilize my video, kind of over stabilizes my video on a daily basis. I shouldn't have to apply warp stabilizer to a camera that I just spent $1,000+.
Yeah.
It's literally designed to make excellent video for me. So yeah, that's one reason for me why one should not upgrade or pump the brakes on upgrading their gear. Do you have another thought?
Well, yeah, I think just kind of the surface level, don't upgrade because it's like the newest camera. Because the older cameras honestly fit
don't just follow the herd.
Yeah, don't just follow the herd. Like we could, if the Sony A7 Mark II had a flip out screen, I would get it today. And if that had a flip out screen, but it didn't have, but the newest one that hasn't even been announced didn't have one, I would keep the older one that fit my needs. You can make a quality video with a potato, like an actual potato.
So I think a lot of this comes down to energy,
self-awareness.
Yes, that. But energy division, where you're focusing your mind. And creating's really hard.
God, it's like literally the hardest thing I've ever done.
It's war's a little harder, but creating's pretty hard.
Well, I've never gone to war.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I said the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yes. Creating takes a lot of energy, and you will find ways to divert your attention from the hard parts of creating. And one of the ways you can do that is by focusing on the stuff that you don't have to create with, right? I can run the risk of doing this with productivity apps, because I'll go down the rabbit hole of productivity apps and spend hours and hours and hours looking at different features, and just it gets to a point where it's just nonsensical. But I enjoy it.
And it does the opposite of what it's supposed to do, which is make you more productive. Right. But you're not being productive because you're looking at the tools to make. Ooh.
Right. Or I could be spending my time moving my stuff from one productivity app to another productivity app when I could be actually creating something. So it's not evil to want to wander the app store for productivity apps. There's a lot of good things about that. And there's a lot of great things about gear acquisition. And it's a lot of fun to look at gear and think about what you're going to buy next. That's fine. But just understand that when you're doing that, your attention is being taken away from something else. And so you have to decide what you want to do with your attention. If you are accomplishing gear acquisition, you are not accomplishing creativity, creation, thoughtful content.
I agree.
That's it.
He steps off his soapbox.
So
well, let's talk about computer. So we've spoken about cameras, when you should and shouldn't upgrade your cameras, basically be self-aware. Let's talk about computers.
Okay.
Apple just released, let's be tech people.
Okay.
Ready? Well, this week, Apple just released the new Mac Pro with a great processor and a cheese grater for the front. It's amazing. You can cook with it and you can edit video with it. And they also released...
And you can grate cheese with it.
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay, I see. It's cooking. I thought you were saying you actually put a casserole inside the computer, the tower, and bake the casserole.
Okay. I'm going to go back to character.
Okay. I'm sorry, carry on.
So you can cook with it, you can put a casserole in it, and it comes with the state-of-the-art hunk of metal for $1,000. I don't really have an opinion on this personally, but everybody's upset about it.
You're such an Apple fanboy shill.
What's a shill?
It's somebody...
First of all, don't yell at me. Second of all, what's a shill?
A shill is somebody...
Like a sheep?
Who is... He pushes forward a viewpoint of another person or ideology.
So just a fanboy.
Corporation.
Okay.
And a lot of times what they're doing is they're pushing that forward because that idea comes from the other person, not because they have their own thoughts.
Okay, so it's just a fanboy.
Yeah, it's a fanboy.
Okay. I literally don't care. Like, everybody's been talking about this week. I don't care about it because I'm not going to drop $35,000 on anything right now. Aside from a freaking, what are those things called? Airplanes.
Oh, yes.
So I don't really have opinions on it. I don't really care that the stand is $1,000. There's a market for it. Congratulations, Apple. But on a smaller level, we both edit with MacBook Pros. I have a 2017 15-inch with touch bar and no SD card slot. And James has a 2016.
Yeah, it's older.
James has a older one. I think it's a 2016 13-inch MacBook Pro. I thought mine was fitting my needs until I went to Computex last week or 2 weeks ago now.
Isn't comparison wonderful?
Comparison's great. So Computex, for those of you who haven't listened to the previous podcast, is an event held in Taipei. I went there with Sarah Dici, and she was doing stuff with Intel, so I got to learn a lot about the latest and greatest processors and what they're doing to make things faster. And I didn't see, well, that's not true. I saw MacBook Pros but they were used as the the placebo. It was used as the
the comparison. Like, this is the one you don't want.
Yeah. So they would say this popular creator laptop,
Mucinex and other brands.
Yeah. So they wouldn't say Apple computer because I think they legally couldn't for the people that were doing the demos.
Oh my god.
They would say, so this is a popular creator computer, and this is the Razer Blade Stealth, and it's really interesting seeing the difference on how these heavy processor power, CPU, GPU programs and softwares run on the non-Apple computer. And it had me thinking, like, okay, why am I... And I think this is what they want. This is what their marketing wants.
Apple.
No. This is
this is what the other people want.
This is what the competition's marketing wants.
Gotcha.
I'm starting to think.
You have an eyelash on your face.
Thanks. Ooh, your hands are cold. Are you dead?
I don't know. Maybe I'm dying.
Cool. So I've been asking myself, okay, is this MacBook Pro fitting my needs? Every time I go to plug in an SD card slot, I get frustrated because there's no SD card slot. So I have to get my beautiful dongle, and it's just irritating. And it makes me nervous to think these thoughts, because it's almost like you've been in a relationship for a long time and you're like, oh, I don't know if this person's making me happy. It makes you nervous to think those thoughts.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to it.
Yeah.
AirDrop and iMessage are still the bomb.com. But I mean, Google Drive, you don't need AirDrop or iMessage. So I've just been thinking, what is meeting my needs? And Apple's
the comfort zone, man.
It's the comfort zone.
It's like you were given the relationship analogy. For the reason why people will stay in relationships is because it's more comfortable to stay in the relationship than to leave and brave whatever's outside of the relationship for them.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if I'm like a massive Windows fan. Like a ton of people have said,
that's one of the
like,
biggest drawbacks for me.
It's not that bad.
I've never had a really exciting experience with Windows.
Yeah, they say it's not that bad. So you know, maybe you can like jailbreak it and do like parallels or something on there.
But Mac OS, there's software. Mac OS, I think, is one of the strongest things that Apple has going for them at this point, because it's still a really good operating system, and it's still just a joy to use, I think. But in terms of the hardware department, like these other computers are doing some crazy dynamic stuff, and they really always have to an extent, but they're really finding a stride right now. And you look at them, and then you look at a MacBook Pro, and you're like, I don't know, that's kind of really interesting.
I think personally, especially for the price that you're paying for a MacBook Pro, that's another thing to mention. But I think that this is just me prophesying. I think nation. I think that you will be the first person to switch over to Windows. I'm just going to go ahead in our family. Yeah, I think you'll be the first person to switch over to a PC.
I saw Cooper looking around on a Facebook Marketplace the other day for a laptop.
So I think
what he's going to use it for,
because
emails.
You just won't let me finish the thought, will you? I think you will be the first person to switch over because, number one, you probably are due for an upgrade. And why not test out the waters? And number two, because you have way less of an emotional tie to these kind of things.
I think I'm a quick adopter of stuff. If it's exciting to me, I will make a leap without fear. Yeah. Like, I love to just poke, and especially if it's something that's like a rebellious shift away from the mainstream.
Well, it's not really rebellious because all of the creators are shifting.
Right. But if it's, what I'm saying is, like, if I see a laptop that is just particularly exciting, and especially if I notice that other people are like wouldn't necessarily go after that laptop, but I see something really interesting in it, I'm going to be the one. I'm going to go get that.
I think that you should get I believe it's a Dell XPS 15. I think there's one that has a touchscreen. Oh, so there's the OLED screen. It doesn't have a touchscreen, and then there's like the 1080 or or something like that. It does have a touchscreen. I think you're going to get that one.
Okay.
That's just what I'm guessing.
Wait, is that the one that had the touchscreen in the keyboard? Because that was sick.
No, that's a different one. That is an Acer or Asus.
That was nanners.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it had a touch, it was like a touch bar if you stretched it out, and it was an actual screen above the keyboard
that one
on
was,
that same plane as the keyboard.
That one was really fun to
People had
watch.
their timeline. They had their timeline inside the touch screen.
People didn't. Sarah did.
I'm sorry.
She spent like 20 minutes downloading the Adobe Creative Suite under her name, and they were about to kick us out. And they were like, we've got 5 minutes until this demo is closed.
So she did that. She did that whole setup.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the video, and it kind of blew my face off a little bit, because screen real estate is something that is...
You always need more screen real estate.
You always can use more screen real estate. Mm-hmm. And you can debate on if you want more screen real estate to like put 1,000 windows on the screen, and if that's going to take away your focus or whatever. That's a debate. But let's just say you want to be a minimalist. If you have a huge screen with only Premiere open,
that's like amazing,
and you have a lot of timeline, and you have a big viewing monitors within the software, like that's fantastic. And in this case, the timeline filled up the touchscreen, the keyboard touchscreen bit. Mm-hmm. And then you can arrange the main screen had all of the other panels, so you had an extra room, because the timeline is the part that takes up the most.
But you wouldn't want to, so this is just coming from firsthand experience. You wouldn't want to have the timeline there, because you'd be editing with your face straight down, and that's horrible for your neck. But a better application would be like having your effects controls over there, but you can obviously configure it however you want.
Okay. It's 250-inch monitor.
250-inch laptop monitor.
Yeah.
Get on it, Samsung.
One thing I was saying about I said to you about the Mac Pro, just an interesting observation, is everybody's kind of making fun of it right now because it looks like cheese grater. Mm-hmm. And what I told Christina was, you just wait until people start getting it on their desk. That will go away, and everybody will be fine with it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's always the hair trigger response to make fun of the new thing that looks silly.
Yeah,
and you can say it's ugly, but the reality is you're either going to buy it or you're not. And a lot of people are going to buy this thing. They're going to put it on their desk, and they're going to start using it. Yeah. And whenever you walk into their office and you see it, you're like, oh, you got the new, and they're going to be really happy about it. They're not going to care that it looks kind of ugly. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not atrocious. It just looks kind of funny.
It looks like a robot. I think the older one, the one before the trash can.
And I forgot how similar the new one looked to the old one.
Yeah. I get why they did it. I genuinely don't care. Everybody's been like up in arms about it on Twitter, and I'm just out here trying to edit all my videos. Right. I've got a lot of things to put out. I don't have time to, well, maybe I should pay attention to it, because maybe I could edit my videos faster.
Well, I think the thing that stirred up in me more than anything was actually just to get a new really sick monitor for myself.
With $1,000 monitor stand?
Yeah, no, not their monitor. That's what I'm saying. Like, I literally looked at theirs and said, I don't want that, but let me go find something really nice made by somebody else. Okay.
All right, cool. Earthquake.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Fantastic. I've always dreamt of this day.
Yes. I think our loud neighbors finally kicked the bucket.
Good riddance. Oh my gosh. I think that's
gonna make a smell though.
Okay.
We're gonna have to tell people. We're gonna have to go to the front desk and be like, our neighbors are dead.
Yeah.
You know?
And we didn't do it, I swear.
Yeah.
But a new monitor.
I'm just kidding. We really don't want to kill our neighbors. They're just loud. New monitor?
Yes, you were talking about a new monitor.
Yeah, I was just saying I want one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Add that to the list.
Add that to the list. Yeah, that and a computer. But and so we have to reel that back in to get back on topic with the podcast with what we were speaking about today was I want to talk, like, it's important to me that I don't just upgrade just for funsies. Mm-hmm. Even though, you know, it's fun to upgrade.
It's fun, but honestly, we just upgraded.
In itself.
We upgraded this, and this had like no effect on my day because we haven't used it yet. It's like, oh, we got this new lens. It's really pretty, fantastic. Next,
yeah,
we have to record a podcast.
the thing that's important to me is like I want to upgrade my computer, but it's because I'm actually running into issues with editing. It's like a little too slow. It's like I'm working on, I've gone this new direction with my photo walk videos, and I'm dragging a bunch of GoPro clips in there, and the last one I edited was like by the end it was really slowing things down. Even though it was 1080p footage, it was really
Are you sure it's
things.
1080p? Because I did have it on 4K.
No, it's 1080p. Because I look at it almost every time I hit record. I look down and see the 1080. I always check my settings and stuff. So
did it turn back on, by the way?
Did what? Oh yeah, it finally turned on. And it's also doing this thing where it just decides to just be dead, like actually dead for a little while. So that's another reason.
That's another reason why you should upgrade. Possibly,
potentially,
is you need your gear to be reliable.
Yes. And we've been speaking about potentially upgrading from the 5 to the 7, even though we just got the 5, which makes things fun. We've been talking about upgrading from the 5 to the 7 because the microphone on the 5 is notoriously bad, and it's got this nice little on top of everything at all times, and the 7 seems to not have that. So there are really particular reasons why I'm wanting to upgrade my computer and why I'm wanting to upgrade the GoPro. They're very specific, and they start the hierarchy is in proper order, which is I'm trying to make a thing, and I need this to get me there. Right? If you're like a plumber, you got to work on a toilet. If your wrench is continuously not doing the job and you're shooting water in your face, if you start from that starting point and buy your new wrench with the goal of not letting that happen anymore.
I was going to say buy a towel so you can wipe yourself off. But okay, I think I see what you're saying. You
steal those from the homeowners that you work for. They just have to make sure they look the opposite direction.
Why are our white towels brown?
Water and poop on his face.
Yeah.
You're doing it you're doing it in service of the story,
right?
And I think that is a good strategy for gear acquisition. And all is well and good. Get your fun stuffs, but
I'd say just be thoughtful about it.
You can sacrifice things if you don't put that hierarchy right.
Yeah, I also, on top of being thoughtful for, like, in regards to getting new gear, I think super self-awareness, because there's so many times where we think we're being thoughtful, but we're just moving too quick. When we were at the place to get this lens today, there was a moment where I went, slow down.
Yeah.
You don't have to give this man your money if a lens with no stabilization isn't going to cut it for you.
Right.
Thankfully, I'm pretty sure it seems like it's doing good.
Like it's gonna work, yeah.
But slow down before you spend money, because
think it through.
You can always say no and then come back a week later. And if it's not available, there's going to be another one available.
You can get yourself into pickles that way too.
Yes, and we have gotten
buy the wrong thing because you bought it too fast.
GoPro's a good example of that one.
And our minds like to go. Our minds like to do the thing where we want it now, so
we just need to get it now.
It does this rationalization process without us even consenting, and just kind of like makes decisions and says, it'll be all right. And then
I'm sure we can make it work.
Right. And then what you could have done is you could have gone home and you could have done a little bit more research, and then you could have gotten something that makes you happy 3 months from now, and doesn't make you frustrated. But because you got all spontaneous, you make yourself happy for about 30 seconds,
and then you realize,
and then the rest of the time you have the thing, it frustrates you, or you have to make more financial, you have to make more purchases to fix your issue that you created with this purchase. So.
Yeah. The last thing that I want to touch on, in regards to this lens, is I think it's going to, at least for you said, help you be more efficient with your photography. So it has this little button on the side next to the G. And what's really sweet about that button
big circle.
is it will hold the focus. So it locks your focus. So you go to focus on this microphone right here. And then I'm so used to like pressing right here for that. And then you press it and then you kind of go around and it locks the focus.
That's a highly functional thing. That's like when Apple introduced copy and paste to the iPhone finally.
Yeah.
Because I think at the beginning it didn't have copy and paste, or a better option.
Universal copy, or what are you talking about?
No, just copy and paste. Like at all.
Interesting.
And I'm fact check me, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. But a better example that I know happened was with the keyboard when they finally introduced the swipe to move back and forth, move your cursor back and forth on your type. That was something that was so functionally helpful that it doesn't even make sense that it wasn't there ever. And this is an example of something that's incredibly functionally helpful for me if I'm shooting anything. If I'm shooting action specifically, I need to lock the focus in place, be able to take my finger off the shutter button so that I can have control of when I actually take the photo while keeping the focus locked in one position. Yeah. And that is terrific.
Yeah, I'm excited to go out and play around with it. I want to film with it. I want to go out and film like right now. Like let's do something. Sunset. I wouldn't know where to go, but no, I'm excited. I'm glad that we got it. I've actually, this is something that I also didn't mention. I've wanted this lens for about a year. I've been thinking about this for about a year.
Yeah.
When we
this particular one.
Okay. Yeah. We got the little brother of it because
you had a long baking period.
Yeah. I say take your time. Yeah. With when you're thinking about it, gives you
fun, Christina.
Yeah. But it saves you money in the long run.
The joy of shopping.
Yes. So I've wanted this lens for about a year and I'm super stoked to have it. I'm super stoked to make some kind of garbage out of it. We got an ND filter with it, which I feel like changes the color from the lens, which I'm not sure if I'm jazzed about, but none of these are details that anybody cares about.
One big thing is that when you're thoughtful with your approach to your purchase, when you spend a ridiculous amount of money, after you spend that money, you're going to feel so much better. Yes, because absolutely. You're going to be able to say to yourself, this was in service of a specific goal. I know this was the right purchase to make. It wasn't this extreme spontaneous event in my life. It was something that I worked through, and you're going to feel so much more fulfilled by that thing, by that tool, because you just like you feel it's very, very similar to how you feel fulfilled by a tool when you save up money for it, as opposed to just putting on a credit card. Like when you take the time to, you take months and years to save up your pennies so that you can get a car or a house, you're going to, for one, when you're buying it, you're going to treat that purchase with the utmost respect. And two, once you buy it, it's going to mean something to you. Yeah. That it would not mean if money had less of a value. That's why when, kids, when they go to the grocery store and they see the stuff on the aisles, they go, Mom can get me that. They don't understand the value of that. And the way that they understand the value of that is when their mom says, no, we can't get that because it's not in the budget. And then when they do get it, they realize how much it matters. But if their mom always gives them that thing, then they're just going to be spoiled brats. Then that thing, cereal or whatever, even though it's sweet, it's just kind of fun for the kid, but it's not fulfilling. Those are two very different things. Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully this is fulfilling and not just a fun lens.
Exactly.
That's the moral. Make everything that you buy fulfilling and not just fun.
The last thing I want to talk about today is I witnessed a Guinness World Record attempt.
Oh, yeah? You're going to talk about that real quick?
Yeah. Cool. I'm going to talk about that real quick. It was a failed Guinness World Record attempt.
I knew it would fail.
At that. But it was fun. It was exciting.
Dude, how lame is that?
It was, and I just appreciate, let me actually talk about what's happening. We have this thing called the Great Salt Lake here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And it's a big salt lake with enough salt that you can float in it unassisted.
Not me, probably. I guarantee you that I wouldn't be able to float unassisted.
Why?
I have no fat content
Oh,
on
you don't
my
have
body.
anything to float with?
I don't have anything to float.
You don't have a hull?
I barely floated when I was in Haiti, and that like the water in the Caribbean is very salty. I think I only floated because I had shoes on, and the shoes were more buoyant than I was.
So basically, with you, it'd be like if you tossed like a crowbar into the ocean.
Exactly.
What would happen?
I just go straight to the bottom. You don't need to. You don't need to tie cement to my ankle.
Right. So in Argentina, I believe that's the current world record at. Oh, it's like over 1,000 people chained together in a line floating. So they tried to do that today, and I got there late, right? So I got there at it was supposed to start at 10, and I got there at probably 10:30-ish, and I was like, I don't feel like it's happened yet. So not only that, there's not that many people here, and I was like, the world record attempts got to be like, or the world record.
I think there was like 1,000 something.
It's got to be bigger than this. Like, it's got to be a pretty spectacular amount of people. So I was just intrigued by the way that they were funneling people into the area. I was like, how do they manage this logistically? Because it's a public area. So they had these people put wristbands on and get in a line. Like, they went down this corridor of traffic cones that they had made all the way out to the Salt Lake, and they had these people get in a line. It was actually well organized.
Did they have the Guinness Book of World Records people there?
Oh yeah,
they did.
Oh, absolutely.
Are you just?
No, they have to. They have to have them there. It's not a world record attempt. They have to observe it happening.
Yeah.
Because they're the record. They're like the notary. They're the record keeper of it. So
it's so sad.
So
the reason that I'm coming down on it so hard is because Utah's kind of getting on my nerves with this whole like trying so hard to be summer. It's June and it's like, you know, in the high 50s. So I knew that it wouldn't work because it's too cold.
Yeah.
It needs to be like 95 degrees, and then people will get jazzed about it.
What's hilarious is literally yesterday it was, I think, 80 degrees.
Yeah.
And then it made a downward slope. It had been beautiful weather for the last 6 or 7 days before this, and then today it decides to downslope. So anyway, I'm walking around going, I don't know how this is going to work out, because it does not look like we have enough people here to do whatever I think the record number would be. So we're standing there. Oh God, I broke my oh, it fell off. It's bleeding.
You move around way too much.
Slam my toe between the chair and the table. We could sue IKEA. So hard. World record sue attempt, right? $158 trillion.
Okay. The Guinness Book of World Records people at the courthouse.
Yeah. So I was thinking this is way too small, but I didn't know what the number was. So this guy finally comes on a megaphone, and he's like,
"Go home."
And I don't remember exactly what he said, but I just remember I was actually really impressed with the grace that he dealt with this very difficult situation with, because you have. You know, I think there was probably maybe 300 people or so in this line.
That's a lot of people.
I heard somebody say that it was like a quarter of the people that were supposed to be there.
I'm pretty sure that the world record was like 1,072 or 78 or something like that.
So he gets on the thing, and everybody's looking at him, and he's like, hey, so this was, he stated what the record was, and it was held by Argentina. And he said, something along the, like he said the weather was not right. The weather was all wrong. And so what we're gonna do is
not this.
He said the actual focus of what we were doing today was to share the fact that the Salt Lake is so amazing, and you can float in it, like that you can float in it unassisted. It's a really interesting place. It's to bring attention to the Salt Lake,
which is hilarious because if you live in Salt Lake City, the Salt Lake is the last place that you want to go on an adventure because it smells bad and there's a lot of bugs.
Yeah, it's not a particularly pleasing
so
place.
I don't know if they're trying to bring
beautiful
if they're trying to bring tourism to the Salt Lake, but
I will ask you this question, Christina.
Yes.
How would you have handled it better? All these people here trying to break a world record.
Hey guys, it's not working out. You can go home now.
Yeah.
Did they even get in the water?
So he said,
you guys can go swim if you want, but I'm not.
He basically redirected the attention to how great the Salt Lake is and how amazing it is, which I thought was genius. And I thought, what else are you going to do in this situation? And he said, so we're going to go, in order to do that, we're going to go for, I think he said a polar plunge.
Yeah, because it's cold.
It's cold. He said, we're going to go for a polar plunge. So just go out there, have fun, jump around. And everybody went swimming. They had a good time.
Oh, that's fun.
They were like, yeah, woo. And they ran out there.
Failure.
Everybody went swimming.
Way.
Everybody, there were people, family members coming back out, and they're like, you know, you could tell that it was cold, obviously, but you could tell that them doing that experience together was something that was really fun for them. It was a nice change of pace, because what they normally do on Saturday, well, they're gonna sit at home and watch Family Feud together. They went to the Salt Lake and they swam in some cold water and had a good time.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad that worked out for them.
Yeah, and there was photojournalists there. There's one guy from the Associated Press.
Okay.
Which
isn't that like a controversial thing?
It's a big deal. No, it's like
So are they gonna try it again or what?
I heard their shutter sound, Christina. You would have loved it because they had these big beefy cameras, and they were shooting high speed machine gun mode. And I was shooting high-speed machine gun mode too, but I had my shutter turned off. And even if I had it on, it would have been the Sony ones that would have been like, beep, 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 beep. But theirs was like, it was so cool. Sorry if I just spit on you. What was your question?
Are they going to try it again?
They're going to try again next year. They were like,
next year?
Are
you kidding me?
He literally ended it with like, hey, go have fun. We'll come back and try it again next year.
All right, cool.
So
sweet.
I just think I admired, for one, the organization of this whole thing. Because, Guinness, I mean, they've been doing world records for a while. Like, they know how to do
at least stuff. Since, like, 2002.
And we've been a part of some events that were not so well coordinated.
Which ones?
Don't
say them.
I'm not
kidding. But I don't know which one
you're talking about. We know the difference. Well, I'll just say from history for ourselves, because we're in production, we've seen things done wrong.
Yeah.
We've seen done, and I'm talking about that one that's currently in your head.
I don't have one in my head. I'm literally drawing a blank.
Up north?
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. I don't want to get in any trouble.
Okay.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Potatoes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. You totally
I don't.
You just
don't worry about it, James.
She gave me a look. What am I supposed to do with that look?
Dude, you just make everything a lot harder. The look means shut up.
Shut up. All right.
You know what I'm talking about.
We've seen things done well, and we've seen things done bad. So we can spot very quickly if like when we arrive at the place, we're like, this is gonna be a freaking disaster.
No, we weren't. The one that we're thinking about.
I'm saying in general.
James, I like working with these people.
I'm saying
don't ruin it for us.
I'm not talking about that anymore. You told me to get off of it. I'm talking about in general. If we arrive to an event.
Okay.
I don't care about this event in your head right now. If we arrive at an event, we spot in 0.9 seconds if it's going to be a complete disaster or if it's going to be fantastic.
Fire
and
festival.
There doesn't tend to be much of an in between. It's kind of one or the other. So they organized it well, and I just appreciated like the way that they let everybody down.
Well, guys, here's the moral of the story. Don't try new things. Don't try to break records because you will fail. And when you do fail, handle it like a pro.
Yeah, I mean, I think the safest thing is just to do whatever you see everybody else around you doing.
Exactly.
At all times.
Yeah. Yeah. Go with the crowd. Yeah. Buy new things whenever other people buy them, even though it doesn't fit your needs.
Right.
Okay. I think we should wrap this up.
Right. I think so too.
Okay.
Hey,
cool.
guys, rate and review if you enjoyed this, because it really helps and it means a lot, and we love to read them. And if you give us a really good one, we might read it on a podcast.
Yeah,
perhaps.
boy.
And if you're on the YouTube world, leave some comments, and then check out all of our videos on the Reds coming out consistently. And I hope you found this valuable. We love to hear your thoughts. Engage with us on Twitter and Instagram at James the Red for me, at Christina Red for Christina, because she spent some money and she got Christina Red. Well done. You can find us there, and that's where you can talk to us, engage with us, and we would love to talk. Correct?
Yes, we would.
Unless you're insane.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Bye, guys.
Bye.